This is what should be done by one who is skilled in goodness and who knows the path of peace. Let them be able and upright, straightforward and gentle in speech, humble and not conceited, contented and easily satisfied, unburdened with duties, and frugal in their ways, peaceful and calm and wise and skillful, not proud and demanding in nature. Let them not do the slightest thing that the wise would later reprove, wishing in gladness and in safety, may all beings be happy. Whatever living beings there may be, whether they are weak or strong, omitting none, the great or the mighty, medium, short or small, the seen and the unseen, those living near and far away, those born and to be born, may all beings be happy. Let none deceive another, or despise any being in any state. Let none through anger or ill will wish harm upon another, even as a mother protects with her life her child, her only child. So with the boundless heart should one cherish all living beings, radiating kindness over the entire world, spreading upwards to the skies and downwards to the depths, outwards and unbounded, freed from hatred and ill will, whether standing or walking, seated or lying down, free from drowsiness. One should sustain this recollection. This is said to be the sublime abiding, by not holding to fixed views. The pure-hearted one, having clarity of vision, being free from all sense desires, is not born again into this world. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Cool. Happy days. Here we go. So, today's talk. I was just with Ajahn Brahm on the tea time, and he told me I have to give a talk about solitude. When the boss gives orders, you have to listen, right? Okay, good. So I better listen to the boss. So why we came to this topic is actually somebody called yesterday. Somebody asked Ajahn Brahm as he heard about this one man who went into a cave and spent 6 months in the solitude in a cave. It's actually, I looked it up today. Neither one of us knew about this person, but it was actually a French scientist. He went to, let's say in 1972, I think it was. He went to actually, I think I don't understand this. I don't know what Chloe, I don't understand it, but whether topic is too difficult or something is not right. Anyways, I'm just going to continue. So this person who went to solitude for 6 months, and he went to this dark cave in Texas. He was a French scientist, and he was there for just complete solitude. But not just that, he spent this whole time in complete darkness. And I just read a small Wikipedia article about this French scientist, and apparently he went a bit cuckoo whilst in there. He apparently it affected his mental state. The rest of his life, he was really struggling with that. He ended up divorcing his wife. I guess it was really almost traumatic for him. And I just talked to Ajahn Brahm about it. What does he think about this? And he said, yeah, it would be very, very, very difficult for a person to be in a solitude and the darkness as well. It would be very difficult. But in Buddhism, the solitude we talk about is slightly different. Ajahn Brahm went to solitude. He spent 6 months in his kuti here in Bodhinyana Monastery. I've spent many, many years in that same kuti, in that hut in the forest. It's one of the sort of remote huts here in the monastery, and I really enjoyed that hut. It's a beautiful hut. So it's not like when Ajahn Brahm spent the 6 months in the solitude, it was not nearly as like demanding or it's sort of like harsh place. And every day, he would see the birds there. You're surrounded by the nature. You naturally get into the rhythm of the life. You don't have to struggle like this. Apparently, this scientist, there was partly NASA funded that, partly because they wanted to see what happens to a person when they spend a lot of time in solitude. And apparently, the scientist reported that his natural cycle went from 24 hours to 48 hours. But when you're in the nature, it's actually very natural to follow into this, get into the rhythm of natural cycle. Like for me, I notice during our range retreat, when we do our 3 months range retreat here in the monastery, and as monks, we don't, just the senior monks do all the things, like we have teachings by Ajahn Brahm, and Ajahn Brahmali does most of the work, and us, which are not so senior yet, we can just disappear most of the time. So a lot of times I go and pick up my food, I go back to my hut, eat the food, and nothing else. I don't have any other responsibility most weeks. We have few small little things. Sometimes they do a little sweeping in the monastery, clean the toilets, things like that, but there's not much really to do. But what I've noticed that when I'm in that solitude, when we're getting into our retreat time, after a while the body starts getting into this kind of very natural rhythm, and the mindfulness starts growing very, very naturally. And so it's a very natural way to get into this kind of habit of meditating, and the mindfulness, like I said, it grows very naturally. It's a very organic, so to speak, way to spend your time in the solitude. But one thing for us, what really differs for that person, perhaps, we have somebody who inspires us all the time. So we go and listen to Ajahn Brahm's talks once a week, unless he's on a retreat. We once in a while see other monks. If you're not on, complete solitude, you see the other monks, you talk about something. Sometimes you go a bit cuckoo, you start climbing on the walls for a while, and then you're just like, oh, you better go and see somebody. You need to find this kind of time when there's too much solitude. It can happen for us as well, especially when you're younger, you don't really know what you're doing, and it starts to get a bit hard. So then you need to know when you need to break the cycle, because that's one of the things sometimes as a meditator sometimes ask when you're on a retreat, and you sit, and nothing is really happening. Should you just continue sitting, or adding more sitting hours, and then obviously combining with walking meditation? Should you just continue with that? And sometimes it's actually good for you as a meditator to recognize when is good to break the cycle. This is, if you, like as the saying goes, if you try to do same thing over and over again and you fail, it's a sign of stupidity if you continue doing that. So as a meditator, you learn in the wisdom in the sense that you're sort of like, well, this is not working. I need to adjust my way of doing things. And this might not be just solitude if you're talking about long retreats, but even if you take your own meditation practice and you come home, you have a certain kind of seclusion. And I know a lot of you experienced meditators, you will naturally have created this kind of environment for yourself where you can have a lot of solitude, right? You haven't, you created your sort of your space in there, whether it's just one room for yourself and you go into this one space in the bedroom, and or a lot of people I know, they even go further where the whole life revolves or gets towards that, where you start finding more and more solitude in your personal life. But you have to be growing in a wisdom in a sense that recognize those states when you are just doing the same thing over and over again and something is not working. It could be that it's not seemingly working, that maybe you are, there's a peacefulness there, but quite often we can go into those dull states of mind. So that's the one thing what can happen in a solitude, where we just get dull. We think we are doing something, but the only thing we are doing is increasing in sort of dull states of mind. The happiness doesn't start growing there. There is not that kind of I'm enjoying meditation. Like just the other night, I went back to my kuti here in the monastery, and I have a beautiful kuti again. I'm one of these. Somehow I got lucky again. I returned from Melbourne after a 3-year period of staying away from Bodhinyana. I just landed. I came back, and the monks were really kind to give me a really nice kuti, really nice hut in the forest. And why I really like this hut is every hut here in the Bodhinyana Monastery, we have a walking path. So you step outside of your hut, and you literally on your walking path, you're where you start doing your walking meditation. And it's very important. So we combine a sitting practice with walking meditation. And my hut is especially great because my walking path is actually covered. So because quite often, especially this time of the year, you start getting mozzies coming at night time, and it starts getting a bit cold, so you just don't feel comfortable. My hut, on the other hand, it's north facing, so with it heats up all day. Summertime is really not nice, but this time of the year, when the nights are starting to be cool, is really nice, because I come from outside, and I just I opened the door, I stepped onto my walking path, and I step into this warm space. And it just feels so nice. And instead of for me going into my hut last night, and the last couple of nights I've been walking into my hut, I just want to do walking meditation. And it's almost, I indulge myself in walking meditation. Meditation for me in those times, it's not like I have to endure something. It's really the opposite. It feels like I'm indulging on something. It's a really nice feeling when you're indulging in meditation. When did any of you, really feel that you were indulging in meditation? When was the last time you really had this is something it's just so nice. I can meditate. Try to find those times. Try to find that space for yourself. How can you make that space so that you can find quietness when you go into that space? It's so nice, it's so quiet in this space I've created for myself. Make it really so that you want to go there. That it absolutely should not be a place where you feel I'm going to, torture myself again for an hour. That, make it so that it's not that. Make it sure that your solitude, the space you are in when you're meditating, that you want to go there. Make sure that you want to have more and more solitude. That is not a place where you have the phone right next to you. Turn the phone off, leave it in another room. Make sure you have a place where you you feel like, it's a seclusion in the sense that if you do walking meditation, that there is nothing you need to distract yourself with. Create these kind of spaces. And in that sense, the solitude becomes a place of refuge. It's not a place where you're in this dingy cave, that kind of solitude. It's a solitude not just for your physical solitude, but it's a solitude for your mind. Create that kind of space. And then the mind goes to, it leaps towards that. I want to go to that space. And now actually that we were just talking about, we're creating here with Venerable Vasaga this beautiful new studio space. You don't see most of it, but hopefully we can do maybe a little tour after we complete this, and we'll do, we're setting up microphones and new cameras and lights and all that. It's nice, it's kind of cool work. I enjoy it, not just that we can bring you this Dhamma talks with all the other monks, but it's quite fun. Anyways, but I'm trying to create this space. We put a lot of these panels behind me. There's panels on the side walls. We put in curtains behind there where you don't see him looking at the curtains. There will be curtains here on the side. I'm creating a space which is quiet. Quietness is one of the key things for a place where you can find solitude. When you go to a quiet place, I've been in many halls, what we call it, Dhamma hall, a meditation hall. You go to Thailand, I go many places, I've been many places, and they look interesting, the large spaces, and there's beautiful big Buddha statues, and they're noisy as hell. Terrible places, not for meditation. But yet, that's kind of space is what they created. Many places I've been in Thailand, big hall, everything marble, glass. They look imposing. But are they good for solitude? Then I've another example. Sometimes this quiet space, they feel sort of quiet but tense at the same time. To me, at least, I can pick up things with my ears. I was always being like that. I'm just sort of I can sense things when I go to a hall in that sense. That I was always I liked, music, and I liked sounds, really. And I was in this one big hall, again, beautiful hall in Thailand, and they put this massive grandfather clock in front of the hall. Like I said, big hall, echo, massive echo. You just somebody opens a bottle in the back of the hall, and you hear it in front. Then they have this big grandfather clock right there in the front going tick, tock, tick. You're sitting there 3 o'clock in the morning, what? Isn't there anybody else hearing this? So, and they actually said, obviously the jhanas and one of the synonyms for jhanas, the deep meditation, is solitude. It's a solitude of the mind. And what is actually interfering some of the solitude, first jhana, to be really, accurate, is sound. So create a space where, you can find quiet. Oh, yes, and that's what I was talking about, this the studio. So that was long thing. I'm coming back to the studio. Okay, here we are. I'm trying to create this studio that all the monks, when they come here, that's why I'm putting a lot of soft elements like the sound panels behind me. There will be curtains both sides. That not just the recording will be nice, but I just know when all the monks come here, and it's this kind of soft environment, they just want to sit down. You just want to be quiet when you have a place where you feel soft around you. It's very natural. It creates that kind of environment. And just for me thinking about it, it gives me a lot of mudita for that. I'm a sucker for mudita. Anywhere I can find happiness from thinking of other people's happiness, that's me. So in my mind, I'm thinking the monks are going to be enjoying this space. So I'm trying to create a solitude in this studio where the monks are going to be here and they want to meditate and teach meditation for others. So create spaces like that. But like I said, the solitude, it's not a solitude for you going into the cave. One of the monks, I was 2011, I was still thinking, should I ordain or not? I was really already in the monastery, and I asked this one Sri Lankan monk, what should I do? Where should I ordain? Where should I go? Where's a good place to meditate? And he told me that never think that you have to go somewhere in a cave to Himalayas to become enlightened one. You don't have to have that. Sometimes especially as a young monk, you're always thinking there's going to be there's going to be some kind of perfect place for this. I need to find this solitude. You go into this perfect solitude, eat brown rice, and spend in a cave for however long, and then that'll be fine. It doesn't work that way. Solitude is really what the Buddha was talking about. Obviously, it is the physical solitude. You remove yourself from the world. And these days, the world follows you, which is remove yourself from YouTube, remove yourself from iPhone. That's also solitude. But it's the solitude of the mind. So what is the thing we're looking for, really? What's the solitude of mind? Solitude of the mind is really like you become somebody who can dwell become your own island. You can rely on yourself and you know what to do. Your mindfulness is at that point where you know what to do with yourself, so to speak. You become a person who gets drawn into these quiet moments, who doesn't just become a dull meditator, who knows how to get happiness out of meditation, who can not endure, but who's got a mind which leaps towards the quietness, which goes towards the solitude of the mind. You don't depend on the world to bring you happiness. The world can give us something. It can give us some kind of happinesses. But eventually, end of the day, you need to be independent in the world. Become an independent of the happinesses which the world can give you. The world can give you so much, but it cannot really give a lasting, deep happinesses. I did a funeral today actually, and I actually as a monk I like doing funerals. Funerals are sometimes a bit sad and they're sometimes a bit formal. Today wasn't a formal funeral because it was Thai ladies, and Thai ladies are always happy-go-lucky, and we had a sort of a joyous event. Nobody was really actually the partner was crying a lot, but everybody else was just quite at ease with it. And I like to go on funerals because people listen to me. It's one of the times when people actually listen to us. A lot of other times it's like, yeah, okay, well, there's YouTube. I'm watching it. I just like, what's in my phone? Are you really listening to me? Are you? Okay, Yvonne is. The rest of you, okay, not nodding. So, but funerals are the time when everybody is paying attention. So I did not see anybody on their phones today when I was doing my little spiel, my speech on the funeral. So it all of a sudden gives you this kind of impetus. I should pay attention. It's very natural. Other times we need to force ourselves a little bit. Like you start thinking, like, he said that, oh, I'm not sure. Oh, this happened today. Your mind just goes all the places. You just sort of have to force yourself to be as like, oh, I should listen to this, but yeah. I don't like what he just said, or I like what he said. You're creating images. And the Buddha called these things which we add into these things. Your mind is never really clear. Your mind doesn't have enough solitude. It's not removed enough from the world. Only when your mind is removed from the world for a while, you can really start understanding what others are saying. You can really understand what's happening in your mind. Until then, it's a cacophony of a million things in our minds. We all have that. It's not your fault, and it's not my fault that my mind is like that. But imagine if you didn't have that for a little while, your mind would be just quiet. Imagine what it would feel like. It's a nice feeling. When you wouldn't have that kind of thing, this critical mind, this mind which is always fault-finding, this mind which is always telling stories. Imagine that. Just that is a good reason to meditate. It's nice to have a mind which has quietness. It's nice to have a quiet which is independent of the happinesses of the world, which is radiant by itself. I'm sure all of you agree that is a really nice thing to have. I've said it many times and I say again, for me the best holiday is not to go into Finland or Sweden or Poland or United States or whoever else, other people, Perth, going to Perth. I went to a nice lunch today in Perth. These are not nice happinesses. It's not anywhere or a nice holiday. The best holiday for me is when I have a break for myself. When I can leave Ajahn Mudito behind. Jeez, that's a nice break. He's following me everywhere. I'm telling you, pain in the butt. Don't, never get Ajahn Mudito to follow you. It's that bloody thing you wake up in the morning and it's like, another day. Great. It's the same thing which go to the bed and wakes up 2 o'clock in the morning. Yep, I should be sleeping, but I'm not sleeping, and the world is, going, who's there? It's me again. Hey, give me a break. I'm sure it will all have that. But at least, you will have those, 2 o'clock wake up in the morning and the world is coming to you. But at least we can try to have these little breaks here and now. Have a solitude, a little bit of break here and now. You don't have to wait to rest in peace until you're in that little box. Then you're having a different kind of break, but it's not resting in peace either. The karma will always go, take over, and you'll continue with that. Let's have a break now. I've heard enough of myself talking. I'm tired. Let's meditate. Okay? Good. Everybody agrees. No, everybody's tired of listening to me. Me, myself, and I as well. So, let's take a break. Okay. Turn off your eyes. That's what I was going to say. No, close your eyes. And when you close your eyes, you can actually feel what it feels in your body. What does your body feel after today? And try to be neutral about your body. No need to force your body to be any way. Don't add stories into your body. Even if you have a tummy ache. Don't need to have another error which hurts that, which is the error of the mind. Even if you have a back pain or other chronic things in your body, well, look, the body doesn't belong to you. Allow it to be. Just allow the body to relax. You don't do the relaxation, but you allow it to happen. Allow the body to sink in the cushion or the chair you're sitting in. And whenever in the meditation you want to move, allow the body to move with kindness. Don't get into kind of squinting, like, oh, there's pain, I'm going to move. I'm like, okay, no, there's pain. Allow the body to move, but with kindness. And then we continue a little bit more with the relaxation of the body. And one way of doing it is taking deep breaths into the body. So breathe in for a little while, a bit deeper than you would normally. Breathe into the body and allow it to relax. Just sigh off all the worries of the world. Even if you don't want to do it, you need to force yourself a little bit. I can relax. Even if you have anxiety or you're in a bad mood. Just breathe in and allow the breath which goes out to relax your body. Just relax, relax. If you feel your body, if there's any kind of discomfort anywhere, you can still move a little bit. The body is never going to be 100%, but can you get your body to 70%? When you're kind to your body, the body becomes more neutral. The more neutral the body is, the less it's a burden. When the body sits there, you can consider it as that it doesn't belong to you. It's not yours. It's not mine to be giving orders to my body. The body does not belong to you. Still continue with the body by allowing your mind just go around the body. Explore the body a little bit for a while. We don't need to rush anywhere. Just gently allow the body to be investigated. You could even give a label to the feelings in your body. Could you feel heat element in your body? What kind of warmth is there in your body? What is the hottest place in your body? And what is the coolest place in the body? Where is there pressure in the body? What is the most relaxed body part? With the relaxation, if you did manage to find one place, can you expand that relaxation into your face? Can you allow your face muscles, all of them, just melt with kindness? Like you would be looking at beautiful sun which smiles at you. Loving kindness. Just observe your loving kindness and feel it with all the muscles on your face. And this kindness, the more you observe it, the more you enjoy it, the more beautiful it is. And at the same time, when you're observing this beautiful kindness, can you see the breath is moving in and out of your body? Observe the loving kindness with your face and allow the breath just to flow in and out of your body. Just relax, relax, and enjoy the beauty. What is the most enjoyable part at this moment in the meditation? Don't go into dullness. Find enjoyment. Find the most beautiful part of the meditation. We are getting close to the end of the meditation. One more time, bring your attention back to your body. Is your body more relaxed than what it was when we started meditating? Can you see positive changes in your body? What good has happened in your body on this short meditation? Can you see your body still breathing? Can you see how nice it is to observe the body breathing for a little while? What about your mind? Can you see positive things in your mind? Don't concentrate on the negative parts, but the good parts in your mind. Do you notice that when you have a little bit of seclusion from the world, the mind is more quiet and happy, content? Or we ring the gong 3 times, which you might not hear because of the software. But just take a few breaths in and out. And after a few breaths, when you feel like, you can open your eyes. Sadhu. Very good. Does anybody have anything to talk about or ask questions or give me a hard time? Silence is a good sign. Bob, can you say something so everybody, the people can follow after you? Ask me a question.
Ajahn, we didn't hear the bell.
I know. That's why I said that, take deep breaths, because the Zoom takes out the bell. There's nothing I can do about it, but we're working on it. It's one of those things we're going to fix with this new studio setup. We're going to have a push of a button, and then you hear a bell without us ringing the bell. Why do we always have to have a bell at the end of the meditation? What's the reason for that? What are you like Pavlov's, like the Pavlov's dog, they will ring the bell and they start salivating? Is that how you have to end the meditation? You sort of like, what are you trained into ending the meditation with bell? But, yeah.
I think it's traditional.
Is it? Is that how you, like, how long you've been following these meditation traditions?
Marlene, Al? Quite a while, but we've always ended on a 3-bell.
Well, I know. Yeah, I know. But I don't know. I wonder where they came from, this ending the bell. It's, anyway, so it's interesting. No, not that I don't like it. It's nice to have the bell, and I like the singing bell, these Tibetan singing bells. I think it's just a tradition which is not, but it doesn't really. I don't think it's no rhyme or reason. I think somebody started it, and then everybody liked it, and then everybody just continues. But who knows where it came from? Maybe a research project for me, but. Sometimes
it only be in Buddhist meditation?
Yeah, well, I don't know. I haven't done more than anything else than really the Buddhist meditation, but yeah. Was there any comments online with Gloria? Did you find anything? Oh, there was a piece wanted to ask. There's a hand being raised. Did you want to ask or yeah, sure.
Yes, please. Yes. It's not directly related to the meditation. So is that okay?
Yeah, okay, sure.
Thank you. I wanted to ask a question, just asking how to stay connected with people who aren't Buddhist, who aren't practicing, but who are significant people in my life, when I feel more of a stronger need for support and to be with, Kalyana Mittas, really. How to do that without shutting people out?
Right.
Or, does that make sense?
Yeah, no, sure, okay. Yeah, I can make up something. Look, I would say that Buddhism is just a label. Don't think that this is, you need to have Buddhist friends or Buddhist, your family should be Buddhist. Or look, this label of Buddhism came after the Buddha, and, it's just given it a label. Think yourself as a meditator, a kind person who, follows Buddhist principles and all that. It doesn't matter what other people believe. Other people are kind as well, and they have different ways of seeing the world. Buddhism is sort of just one way of looking at the world. It's not like we need to have only Buddhist friends or try to find only Buddhist friends. I would say, as long as you have enough acceptance in your own mind, if you're a kind and accepting person, people will accept you no matter who you are and what your beliefs are. That's really what you need to be growing on. That's just saying that I'm a Buddhist, it doesn't do that much. It doesn't really create more friends. And I would say always try to be flexible. That's been a really key for me with others. There's nobody else Buddhist in my family, and I just try to be flexible and kind. And people are, they're easygoing with me these days after many, many years of being a monk. Not that I never tried to force others on others, your ideas of how you see the world. Just talk about kindness. Kindness is, they have a different language. Speaks in many words and many languages. Buddhism, we don't claim to have the only people who knows kindness. Kindness is everybody's heart. People are generous. Just the other day, one of our monks came back, or not our monk, but a monk came from airport, and our driver accidentally lost him in the airport. He couldn't find him. Actually, there was a bit of a misunderstanding, and he spent the whole night in the airport. And next morning he didn't know what to do. He was thinking he will start walking towards Perth, and it's a bit of a long hike. So he was just about to leave the airport, and somebody came to him and said, "Look, you seem to be lost. Where are you walking to?" And he said, I don't know what to do. And there's a city centre. Buddhist Society has a city centre there. I'm going to walk to the city centre. And he asked where it is, and he said it's in Perth, Nollamara. And he said, "No, it's too long to walk. And why don't we just pay you a taxi or Uber?" And he said, "I cannot take money. Monks, we don't take money." And he said, "Well, okay, I'll give you a bus ticket." So he got him a ticket, or transportation ticket. So we have the train now going to the airport. So he got a ticket for this person, a monk, and he wasn't a Buddhist person. People have a lot of generosity. Most of us, we care about others. So how to make connection? Just see the kindness in them. Okay, they see the world differently than us, but it's not nobody's sort of downfall that they don't, see the world in the same way we do, and maybe they have a different goal in life. But, we're all good, mostly.
Yes, I guess it's not so much my judging them. It's more that I am noticing after spending time with them and trying to maintain the connections, I just notice that my mind is more disturbed, it's more distracted, I'm more drawn to think about the topics that they have discussed, things that aren't helpful to calming my mind at all.
That also tends to happen as a meditator. Quite a common thing. What happens is, as a meditator, as a Buddhist meditator, that you tend to be more sensible. You're more sensitive to the topics, and you don't really enjoy gossip anymore. You don't enjoy certain things what other people enjoy. So it's quite natural. You don't like to going to parties, for example. It's like a quite natural progression that happens. But always remember that you can't change the world. You can't change others. We can barely change ourselves. We can just sort of guide ourselves a little bit. But as a meditator, it tends to happen. You just have to not to be sad about that. I'm just more inclining these days to spend more time by myself, or incline towards like-minded people, like meditators, for example. More spiritual people is a good way to look at it as well. So, take it as just how it is, and a lot of us, we experience that.
Thank you, Bhante. Thank you.
Was there anything online, Gloria?
Yes. So I received a question. The question is, Bhante, what will happen if loneliness hits us in the first week when we go into seclusion? How does Bhante handle it? And will someone mind go crazy if they are not ready to do it?
Well, I'm crazy. Who's not crazy here? Raise your hand. I'm not raising my hand. I thought I was a bit normal before I ordained. The thing is, it's actually, you start noticing yourself, like these weird things happening in your mind. Like, yeah, like I said, honestly, I thought I was pretty normal until I ordained, and I spending a lot of time by myself, and I started noticing this the training wheels start falling off, and it's an interesting process. Not that don't take it as a dangerous, but sure. If you go into actual solitude by yourself, it is difficult. It's good to have your solitude with community, so to speak. It's good to go into solitude really in a retreat center setting, for example, especially for in the beginning more. And how you deal with solitude is really by inspiration. It's really the inspiration really carries you along far away. You feel comfortable, and the interesting, you become sort of used to that your own crazinesses. You become more friendly towards yourself. So you just start noticing these kind of things that is like this is how I do things. This is how I'm conditioned. And you become more at ease with it. The more you sort of strain, or more the friendliness grows. When there's happiness and friendliness, then the self is not so, like I said, like, oh, take a break from me. But sometimes I don't. When the meditation is hot, so to speak, when there's a lot of inspiration, the Ajahn Mudito is not distractive. It's like those things that come, but it's not like I need to fight anything. It's I'm at ease with things. So go to solitude. If you can't go to a retreat center, you want to be solitude by yourself. You have a holiday home, and you can take your week there. Make sure you have some kind of inspiration with you, whether it's a book, whether it's few talks that like you start going into this kind of point of you feel really lonely. You feel like, I don't know what I'm doing. Why am I here again? Or sometimes, like I said, really the worst part sometimes is that you go into this kind of dead space. You're in this water, nothing is happening. That's actually the dullness is quite hard to break. So have something which could uplift your mind.
I received a following comment, and he said, sometimes we get so sick of the world that we don't know where to escape. And thank you, Bhante.
Okay, yeah. Well, meditation is a good escape. Be escapist. Highly recommended. You can maybe not escape everything, but at least you take a little break and escape that much. Yeah. Why do you think we're monks here? We're escaping the world. There's nothing else? Anybody else wants to say something? No? Going once?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Yep.
Eva has her hand up.
Yeah, thank you, and thank you, Ajahn, for your meditation. I found that very nice and peaceful. And I just want to not necessarily question, because I found it so interesting also that you talked about, it doesn't necessarily need to be, labeled as Buddhism or something. Just wanted to tell you guys that I'm working a lot with indigenous peoples, and I find it very interesting that although they don't necessarily know what Buddhism is, they don't necessarily have that background, but they do a lot of things that basically end up in the same area, like how they do things, being out in nature. For example, one hunter I've been working with, who had a lot of addiction problems, and he told me he sees some quite elderly person now, in his 70s, but very fit. And he told me that he had a lot of addiction issues with all kinds of, drugs, etc. And the way that he dealt with it was he went into out on the land, how they say, in his cabin basically. And he just, did what you just said, he went into solitude and just no contact to anything or anybody, just being in nature. And he was able to clean himself this way. Mm. And he says that he always does that when he feels, he needs it sometimes. He just goes out on the land. He also did the same thing with his son to help him with alcohol addiction. And he says just if he's too long out on the land, he says that his kids sometimes basically get him back because they say he gets a bit weird. So they get him back home. So that he's not too much out in solitude. But I found that very interesting. And the thing is also how they approach things and, being out hunting for them, the way that they hunt. I'm working with Inuit in the Arctic. And it's very meditative, how they wait for seals to come to the breathing hole, and they wait for long times. I'm just kind of standing there waiting for the seal to come up so that they can catch it. Very meditative, and the awareness that they get and the understanding that they get is very similar to what I hear from Buddhists. So it's super interesting. Just wanted to say that.
Okay, good. Yeah, it came to my mind. I mean, I come from a family of a lot of hunters and all that, so it's just and fishermen, and a lot of fishing is being done, and I can definitely see why a lot of men who's just like a free time, they go fishing. It's like they just have to go fishing. They need to get out there, just go into the boat, do whether they catch anything or not. Like in Finland, we do a lot of this ice fishing, and it's like you just see, it's like, what on earth are they doing? There's like a minus 30 degrees outside, and they're there like all day. They're doing this little movement. They just need to do it. They need to do this. Like these men need to do that. They need to go into spend time together and be part of the hunting group. And obviously, it's difficult for me to promote that, but I know people need to do that. There is different ways for everybody to find that the solitude. There is just we use different words for that. People, a lot of men, they talk about fishing. Fishing is, but it's it's not the action of catching the fish or being there. It's just that being in nature, being there on that space, it just feels, quiet. And I can definitely understand that, why people do that. Go and find that thing for yourself. And don't think that meditation is like, sometimes people talk about formal meditation, formal practice. It's like, get lost. I mean, come on. What are you doing, like formal practice? It's just like, don't be formal. Be informal. Find, forest bathing, what the Japanese call, or sometimes I talk about just going to listen to nature, just walk and just feel what the nature feels like. And if this practice becomes a formal practice where some people say that they should sit an hour a day, and they missed yesterday, so today they need to sit 2 hours because of that. What are you doing? Come on. I mean, okay, if you want to sit 2 hours because you find it enjoyable, yeah, of course it's good. If you find enjoy walking for a long time, go for a hike. It's not, you don't go to hike because I need to go to hike. I just recently was teaching a retreat in our new retreat center in Melbourne, and we did the sitting meditation. I said, okay, well now let's take a 5-minute toilet break, and everybody was just sort of, finally I can relax. Toilet break. It's one of those, like everybody was like, they didn't even notice. I said, like, they came back and I said, did you notice how relieved you were that you're like, you were giving a toilet break? But that's what we hear. Like the whole weekend retreat was just like taking a break, but somehow everybody gets into this kind of tight mentality, like now meditating. And then he was like, oh, now I get up, now go to the toilet. It was like, oh, it's so nice. I was like, oh, I have to. Yeah, well, recognize those kind of like the toilet break moments where it's like, oh, fine, it's nice. I can take a break. Take that and into that, that should be the practice. Find those kind of like, it's really nice. My mind leaps into that. But if I tell you take a 1 hour toilet break, it starts to go like, yeah, it's a lot to sit on the toilet for that long. I'm getting hemorrhoids. Right.
I just want to say that I suddenly remind me like sometimes I just need to go onto the mountain, and then the other day I spent I think 3 or 4 hours just walking into the mountain and no people are passing by, and I think sometimes I just need the time to gain the sanity, and because it's too busy. And yeah, I never thought about like the solitude thing, but I think I really need some solitude sometime.
Yeah, that's good. And like I said, don't worry about it. You tend to gear towards that. As a meditator, it tends to happen that we get more, like quite naturally you get sort of removed from that kind of, I don't want to go to shopping center anymore. The mall doesn't excite. It's just a bit too abrasive, when you go to shopping mall. It just doesn't feel right. I don't like to go to parties anymore that much. I don't like those kind of things. It's a very natural process. So just go with it. It's good. Happy days. Going once, going twice. I'm going to Solitude. Thank you so much. Nice to see everybody. Please continue, and I see you some point. Uru. Have a good night.